Ikuzo.
There are no rules but one. Drink Jägermeister at minus 18 degrees Celsius.
And you had a chance to work with Roman Reigns as well, and way before he became the tribal chief, even before he became Roman Reigns, working close with him, grabbing that tag team championship with him. Could you hint that he will become the future face of the WWE back then? Not the one they tried to push down our throats, but this one.
I knew he was going to be a big deal, but I think it's very difficult to ever, predict how big he can become. To where, again, this bloodline storyline and everything they've been doing has just been like, he's been champion for like 1,000 days or something at this point. Like, he's been killing it. Everything that they've done has been next level stuff. And so I knew back then, they were gonna make him a star, but he's done a hell of a job, even going above and beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, but obviously now you're saying you guys like Roman, who was, in my opinion, when he was, as Peter said, pushed down to our throats at some point, I always thought of him like he was a good in-ring worker. He just needed to find this character. And based on that, I wanted to ask you, what do you think essentially is more important? Do you think someone can be okay in-ring worker, but it's more important for him to be a great character, to have charisma, to have speaking abilities, or would you prefer to have him first, like in-ring abilities, and then we'll build off there what we can do?
I know for me, I will always lean towards character. And that's just because of, how I went. I got into wrestling very much for the wrestling aspect. I liked wrestling. I liked the athletic part. I liked doing moves. I liked wrestling matches. So I got into wrestling because of that. And that got me to a certain point. But then when you get to that point, you start to realize that wrestling is a lot cooler when they care about all the wrestling that you're doing. And if you're just a wrestler, but if you don't have much of a character or personality, then they're not going to care about your match as much as somebody else, right? So once you figure that out, then you start to put the importance on personality and character. And then when they care about you, then you just do enough wrestling or as much as that match requires or whatever you need to do to get the reactions that you're going for. But they're going to be way bigger than if you have just some, crazy random wrestling match, because even if you look at things now, there's a lot of people who are really good wrestlers out there. But who are the ones who are like, their music hits and people go crazy? You can see a million people at this point do RKOs. But why does everybody care when Randy does it, right? Randy doesn't care. Randy doesn't care if there's 20 RKOs on a show, because when he hits his, they're going to go crazy for it. You know what I mean? And that's just the importance of caring about Randy Orton, not about his wrestling moves or what he does and everything else. And I think that's really important, to where even John Cena, one of the probably best examples of it, you cared about him and you cared about what he was doing. And then the wrestling matched it, right? But it was, I don't think John was ever, really the greatest wrestler in the world, but performer and star, barely any could touch him. You know what I mean? And again, that should just tell you what the important part of it is, and where even a guy like John would put his importance of going, okay, should I, try to be a better wrestler, or should I try to really connect to the crowd and have them care about my matches? And again, like I said, once you start to figure it out, I think it might be the difference between, a performer who's new in their career and they're inexperienced or experienced, but almost all of them slowly figure out that, your body won't hold up as much as you want if you just rely on wrestling. And, again, even if you look at guys like The Rock, who started out as Rocky Maivia, and he's in there and he's wrestling and doing all this stuff, and people don't care until he becomes The Rock and starts raising an eyebrow. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, the same thing. He's in WCW and he's in these crazy wrestling matches. And he's very talented, and nobody cared until he started kicking and punching and, putting a middle finger up as Stone Cold Steve Austin. So it's such a difference. And again, some people love wrestling. I love wrestling. I think wrestling is the coolest thing in the world. But it's also really cool when they care about you, and now you get paid more money to do it, and you get better reactions to do it. Way better.
Yeah, I mean, we as the fans, all fans, bitch about how Attitude Era was the peak wrestling, And we have occasionally these glimpses of Attitude Era with your character of Tyler Breeze, with LA Knight currently, with people like Elias. I will never forget the heat Elias and Kevin Owens got in Seattle. That was brutal, and they buried him.
Yeah,
I will not get over it. Yeah, but and I think also with today's wrestling climate, like you said, there are a lot of guys who are great workers. Like even somebody. That's why I felt a little bit about Ricochet. Like a guy can do double moonsaults and 630s, but I think in Apollo Crews as well, also very athletic.
Yeah,
amazing. But they had kind of a problem getting this character where you can do double moonsault and we will be all amazed, but there isn't a story where we can fit you. And I think Ricochet is getting there now, but that kind of a thing.
And that's, you're exactly right. Like a guy like Ricochet, for example, who looks like $1 million, can do everything under the sun. He could, wrestle circles around anybody that he wanted to. But why isn't he, in a Roman Reigns spot? Or why isn't he, higher than he is? Until, again, like you said, look what he started to tap into with, certain things with certain people and the stuff with Logan and all that stuff. You're starting to kind of see the personality and the character and the, reason to care about all the insane, crazy stuff that he does, as opposed to just, I don't really know how I feel about him, but he does cool stuff. And I go, oh, for the moment. And then I go on to the next thing. You know what I mean? So I think he's really starting to figure out, what that little missing piece to elevate him is. And it's very, apparent as you watch Raw and SmackDown where he's at and where he's going, and listen to the reactions that people are starting to get with him even more and more and more. Even a guy like Kofi Kingston, for example, where he was around for a long time and he got to a certain point, but that was about it until he came up with New Day stuff. And all of a sudden the New Day exploded with all three of those guys. And it's just, again, it's just the matter of adding that missing puzzle piece of why you're not a bigger star than you are. And it's kind of cool to watch people, slowly click as to what they're missing or that one little thing that they didn't realize until they do. And then they go, oh, okay, I got it now.
We stay genuine, uncensored and unscripted, and we always will, as we have to order our usual. Share us and subscribe us, and stay tuned until the next Wednesday. Ikuzo!